Myself, Dhanushya Sri, sir, from Biomedical Engineering, third year.
I'm Rakesh, same from biomedical third year.
I'm Aditya Shri from Biomedical third year.
Sir, I'm Manogna from Biomedical Engineering third year. So I've been a part of BPL Mets in December. It's a really helpful program. But apart from being a trainee there, I just want to know what are the qualifications to be a part of R&D. So it's my major interest.
R&D, if you look at it, right, it's product development, right, and making sure that okay the customer needs or the patient needs are being met through providing a solution, right. So from that perspective, understanding of the clinical needs, right, the requirements, what problem that we are trying to solve, etc., forms a primary portion of the skill set, right, that is required. Now, remaining product development, technology related aspects, etc., right, you are getting trained as part of the curriculum. There is also a element of practical exposure that will be required, handling day to day decision making, etc., right, which is part of the job of R&D. And that will come with experience and expertise development, right, and that is where internship programs and trying to have being part of the product development, right, and doing a hands-on coaching, right, or training sessions, right, being available as part of the hands-on internship programs, etc., right, will could potentially help you get there. But apart from all of these, right, try to focus on the basics, right, have solid domain knowledge, right, develop hand calculations, technical analysis, like design margin analysis, right, those kind of aspects, right, make sure that okay that you're trained, so that when it comes to product development, right, you're ensuring that okay the products are really meeting the patient need, and risk levels wise, right, it is not getting into a scenario where it'll harm patients, right, right, you're supposed to, I mean the product is supposed to take care, right, from that perspective, right, manage the risk out.
Sir, coming to the biomedical signal processing, which you addressed in the morning, like nowadays AI and ML are more in use. So how do you think they will affect biomedical signal processing?
Sure. See how it's going to affect is that we were talking in the morning that there are a lot of inputs. See, when we talk about AI, it's nothing but there are more and more database getting into picture. So now what happened then when you are talking about the decision making? We are talking about signal processing and decision making. For example, the interpretation. So now what will happen? The more and more data, reference data, would be available to make a decision or better interpretation. So that's going to be truly very useful. So now the currently what happens is when they talk about AI, there are various data have been pulled from many places. This kind of opportunities were not definitely there before. It was very limited. The days to go, I think it's more and more the reference data would be there, whereby the decision making or the output what we are expecting out of the signal processing is going to really make the difference.
Sir, in the morning class, we discussed about biomedical signal processing. How does the biomedical signal processing impact the diagnostic of a medical equipment?
It's a good question. See, we were talking the importance of the signal processing. One is how the noise or artifacts are going to affect the output. So now when we are talking about the signal processing and part of it, we were talking about eliminating the kind of the artifacts or the noise levels. So the level of elimination or level of unwanted signals will give the true picture, or whenever you are going for analysis of that given data is going to be very true, and that's very important. So that's how it is going to affect, in the sense you need to avoid the noise levels so that whatever the needed signal will be helpful. For example, so we were talking in the morning about ECG. So ECG, the wanted signal is ECG, because we all know the importance of, let's say, PQRST waveform, which all of you know. Now in that we have seen the P wave is very low amplitude. Okay, whereas at times, in case if you are not able to process properly, the noise level signal could be much bigger than P wave. Then what happens is the P wave will get deviated. So then what will happen? You will definitely predict wrong, because this is not the actual signal what you are going to get. So that way, the signal processing, eliminating the noise level, would reflect or the actual data. So that is where that it plays an important role. Hope I answered that question.
Maybe I'll also add
Yeah.
one more point could be that, right? Any diagnostic device, right? It is important that okay, we don't get into alpha error and beta error, right? Wherein if we translate into plain and simple language, um, wrong diagnosis, wherein there is a problem which we are not able to capture it during the diagnosis. That is one. Other is okay, when there is no problem, right? You recognize it as okay, there is a problem happening. Both of this should be avoided for an accurate diagnosis. So, and for that, cutting through the noise, capturing the right data, it is very important to identify that signals. So that is where the signal processing plays a crucial role.
So unfortunately, I missed the BPL program that happened in December. So I want to know, so how does this program prepare the students for the medical technology industry?
BPL MEDS program has been designed to help the biomedical, in particular biomedical students, to be ready for the industry. That's how the entire curriculum has been devised. So a lot of feedbacks have been taken before designing this program. So how it's going to be helpful is that there is a limited exposure when someone studies in the institute. They get to know various terminology, various products. There could be a possibility that they don't go through the entire practical sessions on various medical devices. So now this particular program is going to be sort of a bridge program, where probably that you would have learned certain devices. Let's take for example patient monitors or defibrillators or X-ray. So you would all read how it functions, what is the principle, how it works. But then when it comes to the industry ready, so you need to be thoroughly be knowledgeable on you, including the using the product. Now what happens, let's take for instance, there is a product, there is a specification sheet. If you just go through a product browser, you will find the specific various specifications. Now when you go to the industry, you need to know what it means, right? See, for example, they may talk about the frequency bandwidth, for example. So, what is that means? What is the noise level? What is patient isolation? So, what is that leakage current? They will mention leakage current 3 microamp, for example. Whether it is acceptable, what is it, first of all? So, these are the kind of the exposure that one is going to get it. And also, most of the shortfall today in the industry is not understanding the device, the instruments, for example. So now there is an opportunity in BPL that you are going to be hands-on on the product. Let it be the user level. You will be able to do it yourself, various settings and how that is going to perform, or how that is going to matter, like the different settings, how it's going to matter. See, for example, just let me give a small example. You may be taking a job tomorrow in biomedical engineer, as in some hospital. The nursing staff could call you and say the BP is wrong. What is showing the NIBP? You know, that monitor can measure the NIBP. So they will show that it is wrong. So now immediately what will happen, in case if you are not understanding this particular aspect, you might be calling and then it is a waste of time. And but then the simplest thing could be, have they taken the right setting? For example, there are some modes, whether adult mode and pediatric mode. So, for example, if they may be measuring a pediatric BP, but they have not even known that there is a setting that they need to go to the pediatric mode. So these are the things that that one will come across to easily face that. So in a way, we are preparing for the team to be ready for industry. So with a more and more of exposure hands-on, in simple term.
As biomedical is vast, what are the exact opportunities for the students in the research and development for the biomedical field?
Yeah, so like I have mentioned earlier also, right, the products that we create are for solving certain issues, right? It could be early diagnosis or diagnosing a potential or a issue that is currently there, or it could be a treatment, right? Therapeutical products, right? So as a biomedical engineer, whatever solution that we give has to be appropriate, right? So should have anatomical knowledge, right? Physiological knowledge. If it is a therapeutical, right? Sometimes you need to even have kinetics also knowledge. Okay, so what I'm trying to say, these domain knowledges, right, along with engineering ability, putting it to use to form products which will solve that, right? So in R&D, right, there is plenty of opportunities from that perspective, right from determining the requirements, creating an architecture which will solve these issues, right, which can be translated into a product. It also means, okay, design and development of those products, verifying and making sure that, okay, that these products are truly safe for use and truly meeting the requirements, making sure that, okay, these products are truly meeting the regulatory and compliance requirements that we have. So entire life cycle of a product development, right? The knowledge of biomedical engineering, right, has application is what I would say, right? I know it is a long-winded answer. I've covered the entire phase of a product development, but that is the fact that, okay, from a medical device development perspective, right, the entire life cycle of a product development, you get to apply biomedical engineering.
Sir, regarding signal processing, signal can be a form of amplitude variance or image or anything, no, sir. So, regarding signal processing, how would you see it in a further decade? Like, how would you see signal processing evolving in the next decade?
How it is going to matter is, it's more on, if I'm right, there is some level of accuracies have come in with a kind of acquisition. So I don't see before a decade or 2 decades, and now definitely that we would have probably reached an optimal level of getting the signal or images. Now, for instance, the images, the resolution. When you talk about image, it's a resolution. So that, to that level today, when you talk about digitalizing, that we have reached to a level where it is going to be more kind of accurate. What would matter subsequently is evolving around that signal processing, the decision making. That is where more and more the improvements is going to come. When I'm telling that, see, let's take today in ECG, we may be talking about QTC today, for example. Now, it might evolve beyond QTC. There can be another parameter which may be predicting early ANMI, for example. So today they are referring to QTC, but tomorrow it may be something more to that. So I am definitely expecting the days to come more and more signal processing. It's not just the signal processing, it is on the next side, on the analysis side, and analysis and decision making. Let me put it that way. That is where lot of improvements will keep coming. Lot of scope is also there to work upon, because it's today we would have defined 4 interpretation. tomorrow there can be another 10 interpretation could come from the same kind of image, yeah, whatever that has been acquired. Because the knowledge or the case studies, more and more the data will for the reference, so more and more the interpretation could be made. I personally expect the decision making or more and more interpretations with respect to any signal, or let it be ECG or EEG or for example X-ray image for that matter, and also ultrasound for that. So these things would be definitely a game changer, I feel.
So, on behalf of all the biomedical students, I'd like to ask you about what are the projects that we have in the domain of biomedical signal and processing.
So specific projects, right? I might not be able to divulge in a platform like this, but there are plenty of needs. Okay, today there are a lot of unmet needs that's out there. It could be in terms of, for example, right, identifying a genuine issue happening versus all the other different behaviors, right? It might be in existence, right? So of the clutter, right, you should be able to identify, okay, what particular signal, right, is truly making the issue, right? Identification of that. For example, if you look at a ECG signal, right, especially on a echo, right, I mean your treadmill, right, kind of scenario. There could be, let's say, there could be scenarios that, okay, when the patient is running on the treadmill, the vibrations of the patient running could be captured as part of the ECG signal, right, versus the true patient's ECG response, right, should it becomes very difficult to actually isolate, right? So like that, right, there are plenty of unmet needs that is there out there, which could be gone after, right? And we could look at solving them, right? So this is where, right, people mets kind of a program gives a avenue wherein we know, okay, prioritize, right, unmet needs, right, that we could potentially work on, right, choose on, right, and take it to the next steps.
So with increasing technology every day, we'll see a new trend, almost technological trend every day. So what are the new advances or trends in this biomedical signal processing that students us should be aware of?
This is what I was talking about. See, when this question to be answered, that you need to be more closely watching what's happening outside in various universities today. When you look at it, a lot of path breaking inventions is taking place in various at the university level. Many people started working. To my knowledge, there are one of the research which is continuously going on is on preventive care. When I say preventive care, by analyzing an electrocardiogram, one can try to predict if he is having heart ailments, that when the MI could occur next. To that level, it can be predicted. There are many still people are just working on. This is one such. Another one, when it comes to, like, for example, the mammography, like where they found it is very difficult to use. If you have happen to understand how that's been taken, it's very painful compared to the other. So now what lot of research is going on, instead of that conventional mammography, whether they can go on do some different level of uh, image forming and understanding whether that they have it's a cancerous cells. So like that. So now what I would suggest here is, you need to be keep looking for such kind of papers, whatever is coming for, and or you need to be meeting the kind of clinicians, because here it may not be the technology, because the technology is easy. For example, you have transducer or you have the image acquisition technology with you. Now the next part is very important, that what I'm going to do with this image, what is that I can make more meaningful. So what will happen is that if you are taking a particular problem, let's say, you need to meet that specialty clinician, that what are you looking for? What do you think that would be useful? You understand? So what would be useful? So that is where now then you will have to, one should be looking for various kind of algorithms, and whether we will be able to define or give a solution to that kind of question. See, for instance, these are all will come, demands are coming from the clinicians, where the organization like BPL would come with a device. Once, for instance, I'll tell you, a few decades back, the ECG was only single channel, but they used to cut and paste in a cord, lead 1, lead 2, like that, because the ECG is taken by a technician, but it has been going to a doctor for the diagnosis. For him, he was in a comfortable, probably a kind of an A4 sheet, all the 12 leads, for him to just look at it. And then what happened, the industry has come with a kind of a solution with all these 12 leads printed on that kind of A4. So the answer to your question is, it is not just the kind of the signal processing, it is for the decision making. What is that the industry, rather the user needs, the clinician needs. So it is endless. See, because every day when you meet, that requirement for him will be something that given day. Probably the next 1 year, probably that something else may be needed. So it is a very continuous, and I think being a kind of biomedical, you need to be closely watching what is the kind of researchers are going on, what are the papers submitted, what is that, you can do it.
Sir, are there any placements and training programs for the students through the BPL Meds program that we have?
Yeah. What we have done is, the very purpose of this BPL Meds, if you have read the tagline, it is for employable, okay, skill development for employability, to increase the employability. That's what is that. So we have definitely, we are making the students to be ready, not just for the BPL. It is beyond. Yes, BPL also, there could be an opportunity available for the right people. And also, BPL has a very wide network across country, where 110 plus channel partners are there who selling as well as servicing. So now what happened, they also need people. So now there can be placements. And there are many hospitals, our customers, when they came to know about this program, they were also asking whether can you give us some candidates for biomedical. So this is already, these messages have gone after the program and many people. And so it's, then you are also ready. For example, tomorrow you may be working with a channel partner with an 1.5 years experience. Then the people shift, because it may not be BPL. It could be BPL, or they may find an opportunity from Philips. So many times, let me tell you, when a person is closely worked with BPL or BPL related, even the channel partners, they've been picked by various other device companies. The reason for that is, they know the exposure of this particular candidate is much bigger because of the product verticals in BPL. So answering to that, the very purpose of BPL Meds itself is to create opportunity for the people, candidates, and by enhancing their hands-on and practical knowledge, and they will be able to approach with more confidence. That's the very purpose. Opportunity, yes, it's going to be plenty.
We are so thankful for your presence here, sir. Like we are waiting for companies to come and interact for so long days. We've been to industries, but not something like BPL. It is really different. I've already approached sir regarding this, as BPL Meds is very important part of our curriculum. We need trainings like that. We already visited hospitals and everything, but this training program really helped us to develop our abilities and everything.
Yeah, thank you very much. And we also had some 1 or 2 feedbacks from some improvement feedbacks, and we have already, I just want to say that we have already incorporated probably that more and more for the future programs to come. Thank you once again for everyone for a quite interactive session. Thank you.